Powered by Go-Goat Sports in partnership with TSN, it is episode 63, season 4 of the Dregs Hockey Podcast, and it is presented by our title sponsor, Canadian Club Whiskey. You had some time down, Ray. Watch some soccer, a lot of good things going on in your family life, which is awesome, but now you're back into round 2, and you getting ready for the Devils and the Hurricanes? Is that what you're up to?
Yeah, game 4. Just think, like 3 days ago, this series was over, and now it's not again. Like, how many series have been like this so far in the playoffs, Dregs? Like, you think you've got a handle on it, and then it just gets knocked on its ear. And so I'm finding the series unpredictability the most interesting part of the playoffs. Like, you just cannot get a real handle on what a series looks like in most cases.
Right. I mean, we're seeing that in Seattle, Dallas. We're seeing that in Edmonton and Vegas. I mean, we're seeing it across the board here in the second round, with the exception, of course, of the Leafs and the Florida Panthers. So let's check in on all of that in headlines presented by our good friends at Tim Hortons. We'll talk about the series momentarily here in headlines, Ray. First, the draft lottery, the Connor Bedard sweepstakes. And I don't know if it was anticlimactic in watching on Monday night. And I feel like I'm in the minority when I say, yeah, you could build a case for Connor Bedard to land with any of the teams that were best positioned to win the lottery. But Chicago does feel right in a lot of ways. It does. All of the ancient history stuff aside, which we don't need to get into again here, you're talking about a great city. You're talking about an organization with a history of high-level success. And now Bedard comes in there, and automatically, as soon as the world learned that Connor Bedard is going to the Chicago Blackhawks, guess what happened? The phone started ringing, and people started applying online for season tickets in Chicago, and millions of dollars are funneling in to Chicago. Now, that would have happened in Anaheim. That would have happened in Columbus. That would have happened anywhere, right? But, just describe your thoughts when you heard immediately that Chicago had won the lottery and Connor Bedard will be a Blackhawk.
I thought other teams could have used it more.
Yeah.
Other markets could have used it more. and just by what you just said, literally a couple of $1 million in, I think it was a couple hours, wasn't it, Dregs?
Wasn't very long, no.
And, so like that is one season's purchase of season tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And as their team gets better, the season tickets will increase. So I want to say that I'm almost certain that bump in season tickets means the Blackhawks will cap their season tickets this year.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, they'll get to the number that they say that's enough. We have to save for walk-ups and all that stuff. It's a remarkable thing when a player can generate that much interest. And I'm telling you, the kid is a terrific kid. He's very Crosby-like in his demeanor.
Yeah.
And the way he was raised. His parents are, by all accounts, just tremendously grounded people. They've known for a few years here, they've got something special in their son.
Yeah.
And now, we're going to all see in June that, he'll get up there first and put on his Blackhawk jersey. And then Anaheim will sit there with number 2 and be really happy with Adam Fantilli. And isn't it amazing that all those years ago, it was Anaheim for Crosby and for Bobby Ryan, and Anaheim came up in second place.
Just wild.
And here they are again.
I don't defend Arizona very often. There's no reason to, and nor is that my job. But Eric Macramella, who does a fair bit of radio around the country, tweeted, and it just kind of got under my skin. I'm not sure why, or if you saw my reply to it.
I did, yep.
Yeah, he tweeted the suggestion that maybe Bedard should just say, I'm not going to sign in Arizona, because essentially Arizona has been a mess for so long. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, it's a privilege to play in the National Hockey League. And this isn't the first time we've heard somebody assert that that was a possibility. I don't think it was a possibility. Again, for the reasons that you've established. Good kid, excellent family, and we're never going to know because it didn't play out that way. But I believe Connor Bedard just wants to make his way in the National Hockey League. He's going to be thrilled when the draft is over and he can play hockey again. But it's just the underbelly of social media, Ray, that gets after me on occasion.
Well, yeah, but I think his argument is one that people make from time to time about the legality of the draft, basically.
Right.
That you can't tell somebody where they have to work. Except it is different in sports than it is in the general working world. It just is. Yeah, and that's why legal challenges have come and gone on it. The draft is the draft. And unless that system is scrapped completely and it turns into, basically the premiership in European soccer, where there is no draft, you just bid, the highest bidders get all the players, and you've got 20 teams in the league and 4 of them have a chance to win.
Right.
Like that's basically what happens without the draft.
Yeah.
And so, like, are there things that I don't like about the draft? Sure. I don't like that you get rewarded with more picks for intentionally trying to be bad. I don't like that. Don't have a great solution for it. Just don't like it. But as far as the draft itself and the lottery, I want to say the only player that's ever said he's not going anywhere was Lindros, right? Eric Lindros. And that was more 90s. Yeah. That was more political than anything else, with at the time, the politics of the time, I believe. So I didn't think this was a possibility.
No.
Really, just from my view anyway.
No. And now, again, we look forward to the draft. We look forward to seeing Connor Bedard in the National Hockey League next year. Okay, Oilers and...
One thing, hang on. Before we get into that, Dregs, before we get into the playoffs, for all the people that think the draft or the lottery was rigged, for the love of God, just go to NHL.com.
Yeah.
Like most videos that Gary Bettman does, it's not enthralling, but it's informative. Like, Gary's not a performer, right? He's a lawyer.
No.
So he stands in front of the camera, and please hear me out if you don't know. The draft lottery is not done when Bill Daly flips over the cards. The draft lottery, I think there were 5 reporters that had to turn in their phones and sit for 2 hours in a room.
That's right. Yeah.
With the accountants, Gary Bettman, and the reporters. The lottery's done. I think the lottery itself takes about 3 minutes. The way the numbers pop out.
Yeah.
So if you look at it, there's the bingo balls that are floating around. There's a table with these accountants sitting there. There's my phone.
Yeah.
Hello, don't need service. Thank you. And the accountants with the phone and the guy standing there with the machine. And someone says every 20 seconds, draw. And a number pops up.
Yeah.
And excuse me. Hello. Sorry, I'm doing a podcast. I do the best I can. Thank you. The neighbor wants me to lower my voice. Never had that before. I guess we got an adjoining room.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So anyway, can't do anything about it. I'll do my best. But the bingo ball pops up.
Yeah.
And they read the number. At 4 balls, they stop. They say stop. They read the 4 numbers to the accountant. Yeah. And that in the chain of accounting is the final solution.
Identifies Team X, to it. Right?
Pardon me?
It identifies Team X. Yeah.
Yeah. Those numbers mean something. Yeah. And so I encourage people to watch it because I get the I mean, would they have said it was rigged if it would have gone to Arizona? People would have said, oh, see, he's trying to save the franchise.
Yeah.
It's one thing after another. So anyway, I think people should watch it. I think give them a better clarity of what it is.
Agreed. And good tip there. Okay, let's dive quickly into the playoffs here on headlines, and let's start out west. We've talked about how just entertaining the hockey has been for the most part, right? Because you have that back and forth. So Oilers Vegas, interesting series where the domination really flips one game to the other. I mean, wildly, with a big discrepancy in defense and goal scoring output. I couldn't predict that the Vegas Golden Knights would respond the way that they did last night.
They shredded the Oilers. After the first period where Edmonton, I mean, the score was the score, but that first period, Edmonton could have had 5.
Yeah.
And they didn't. And then when Brossoit gets hurt, now Vegas has got to deal with that. And you got to feel bad for Laurent Brossoit. I mean, he's battled injury. He finally gets back in. He's on a really good run here, and that didn't look good. Last night when he went down. And so Aiden Hill, who's been out most of the year, now he's in.
Yeah.
Like Bruce Cassidy told us in March that their goalies were the 2 guys that were sitting in the room. Like they had been, they've been through a wild year in goal this year. But in the second period, Vegas just shredded the Oilers time and time again. And I would have never guessed that after game 2, that would have happened. So now it's back to the drawing board for Edmonton. They've got to respond again. And Vegas is, I would say Vegas will be more prepared than they were in game 2. Like Bruce Cassidy and they were really disappointed with how Vegas stood up or played in game 2. Like they didn't stand against the Oilers offense. They just kind of accepted it. And I think it'll be different in game 4. I still think this is a long series, Dregs. I just think it's got lots of wild swings in it.
Yeah. You speak of disappointment. Game 4, Leafs and Florida Panthers tomorrow. Your estimation, can Toronto turn this around, or, is it pretty obvious with Florida leading 3 games to love that they're likely going to close this series out? If not in 4, 5, maybe 6, does Toronto make it a series?
I can easily build a case for the Leafs to win the next 2 games. I really can. It's not like they've been blown out of games. They've just been, they find enough to lose. They really do. Now they're going to have a major question mark in goal, whether it's Joe Woll making his first playoff start, although he played much of game 3, or could they possibly go to Matt Murray, who's been sitting around for a couple of months?
It's tough.
That would be a tough one. It seems likely to me. If it were me, I would play Joe Woll although I haven't seen Matt Murray practicing, but you would be putting him in after an extraordinarily long time to be away. Here's the problem when you're down 3-0. I was in a series against Montreal. We won game 4. We were at home. It was 2-1 about midway through game 5, and something went wrong. Penalty, power play, goal against. And it was like we just lost our resolve. Like we were out of gas.
Yeah.
Like it's really hard to keep your mindset, and you just need to win 1 game, because really everybody, you're not stupid. You got to win 4 games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And and there's a reason it's only been done 4 times in the history of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, we keep waiting for them to pull a rabbit out of their hat and
score a goal like the core 4.
It's been really something. The guy I've been most disappointed with in this series, I think, from a production standpoint, although none of them have any goals, is Marner.
Yeah.
Nylander's had stretches where he's been the best player on the ice. Mm-hmm. Matthews hit a crossbar, and I know people are all over him, and and they should be, because he doesn't have any goals in the series. But he hit a crossbar the first shift of game 2 or game 3. He had a great chance in the second period. They have to go. Tavares was real quiet.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, it doesn't. Coaches often say this, and I tweeted it out. Good for Sam Lafferty and David Kampf for being our best forwards. Good for them, bad for us. Because if they're your best forwards, that means you're not winning most nights.
Right. Well, fascinating stuff as the series unfolds there. Canes and Devils tonight. Man, I got to give New Jersey credit. Carolina looks to be the better team for a lot of different reasons, but New Jersey showed some pop in that last game, so there's plenty of life in this team.
There is. I thought in game one, Dregs, they were going to play really well. They're coming off of a 7-game series. They only had a day off. It was like a regular season schedule. I thought like they were going to come out and really be sharp early, and they got run over.
Mm-hmm.
They were outshot 11-1, down 3-0. So game one's gone. So you think game two they'll be better? They were worse in game two, or Carolina was better, whichever it was.
Yeah,
that was game two. And then they come back home, and it's essentially a last stand, right? And two things happened, I think, in game three. And this will be something to deal with as the series goes on. They were able to get Jack Hughes away from Jordan Staal.
Right.
Which is, Hughes had 4 points in game three. None of them, Staal was on the ice. Like, Staal is a monster to play against.
Yeah.
He doesn't try to score unless it's really there. He knows his job, and he knows how to do it really well. And that's to just check that guy into submission. So they got those guys. They got Jack Hughes untracked from Staal. And then they got goals from Hischier and Meyer.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have a goal before that. I think this is an unpredictable series as well. The one thing, Carolina has no options in their lineup, right?
Right. Yeah.
They've just got, they've got their 12 forwards. They got a 13th forward that Mackenzie McEachern might play tonight, but like that's it. They don't have any other options. On defense, they got kind of their 6 guys. I think Antti Ranta will play goal if he's not like he was sick.
Yeah.
And so that might change the mark a little bit. But this is another one, but kind of like Vegas and Edmonton, it's pretty unpredictable. And I guess if you look, the teams finished 1 point apart.
Right.
It's not like anybody's a real underdog here.
All right. Look, we've got Chris Abbott coming up, and I know we want to talk a little bit with him about the Seattle Kraken because, from a betting perspective, probably not many had Seattle coming out of that series against Colorado, and now they're in it and doing well against the Dallas Stars.
Well, I'll tell you, if you're looking at something with the Kraken, would you not bet the over every game? Like, man, they fly up, like, they're all over the place. They got 16 guys that have scored a goal for them in the playoffs. I just think that's remarkable. Like, remarkable balance in their lineup to have that many guys get on the board. It's really
fun team.
It's an impressive story, and they are fun. They are really fun to watch.
That series is going to be long as well, don't you think?
Well, depends. Have you heard anything on Heiskanen?
No, not much, but that was scary. Yeah.
Yeah. If he's out.
Yeah, that's a huge hole.
But they're not deep enough on defense anyway. But that would be a huge hole.
Yeah. All right, those are your headlines. Thank you to our good friends at Tim Hortons.
So okay. I'm 100. Now my neighbor's really being annoying here.
Yeah,
he's playing some music awesome. Really loud, like
like it's outrageous. What is this? Are we in high school? Like bang on the wall. This is going to get ugly.
I was going to go over there and apologize. So now he's standing right by the door here. Can you hear this?
Yeah, we can hear it. This, by the way, is going to hit the socials. It's catchy too.
Oh, it's so good.
This is so good.
I was going to go apologize after.
Yeah.
There's no apology necessary.
This is the world you live in.
You betcha. Thanks to my neighbor. Hell of a guy.
This is the best ever.